everyone, welcome back to my channel, Unicorns and Typewriters. My name is Skylar and I'm back today with another exciting booktube video. So in today's video, I wanted to do the very exciting mid-year book freakout tag. So I think this tag is so much fun, and this is the first tag that I will be repeating on my channel, and I'm really excited to repeat this tag, and I really feel like this is going to be a great tag to do every year going forward. I really think it'll be a lot of fun to see how my reading changes, which books I want to read every year when I get to this midpoint, and which books I'm most excited about having read this year so far. It's definitely a fun, like, kind of halfway through the year check-in on reading, and I am really excited to film this video today. So the first question on the tag is the best book you've read so far this year. And I have to say, this was a tough one. I've read some really good books and it's a little hard for me to decide. So I have to say though, I feel like I haven't read the best book this year yet that I'm going to read. I feel like I'm still getting there. I feel like I will at the end of the year have a different choice. But at this point, I'm kind of tied between two books that it's hard because I see a lot of flaws in them, but I also can recognize that they are the two books that I'm still thinking about, that I love the atmosphere of the most, that I kind of wish I could just crawl into, but also that kind of creeps me out, which I like. I like creepy, spooky themes. So I feel like these two books are the ones that I'm thinking of the most. And those are Winterwood by Shea, Ernshaw, and Never Contented Things by Sarah Porter. So these two books definitely got under my skin and got in my head, and I'm still thinking about them and how they kind of played out and their atmospheres and how much I loved the world building and the magical kind of elements in them. They both take place in our modern world but have these other kind of magical elements going on that are super cool, and I would highly suggest either of these to anyone interested in reading a great spooky kind of dark themed book this year. I absolutely loved both of them, and I definitely want to read more from both of these authors. I've already read another book from Shea Ernshaw, and I'm very excited to get to read more from Sarah Porter going forward as well. I think I'm gonna have a different answer at the end of the year, but so far these are kind of the two that are standing out to me the most. The next question is, what is the best sequel you've read so far this year? And this one, my friends, was a very, very easy answer for me. Even though I've read quite a few great sequels, this one it just has to be the best one I've read this year. I feel only pure love toward this series in general, so it just felt obvious that this had to be the sequel I mentioned, and that is volume 2 of Heartstopper. I absolutely love this graphic novel series, and yeah, I loved the second book. I loved all of them, but I read the first one, and just the amount of excitement I felt to quickly get the second one. I quickly ordered the second and third books right after I finished the first one. I just couldn't wait to get my hands on it, and it did not disappoint at all. So it's an obvious answer for this question, even though I have read quite a few really good sequels this year, and I plan on reading some more. So yeah. The next question is, what is a new release you haven't read yet but want to? So this is a little hard for me because I haven't been getting a lot of new releases, but two new releases, I've got two that are new to me that I really want to read that are relatively new. I mean, they came out in the last year or so, so I think they kind of count, even though I'm pretty sure they both came out last year, but it's okay. We're not gonna judge that. The two books that I'm thinking of are This Coven Won't Break by Isabel and Vicious Spirits by Kat Cho. So both of these books are actually sequels. Well, this one's a sequel and this one's actually a companion novel. So I don't know. I'm so excited to read both of these. They both came out, this one might have come out more than a year ago. I actually don't remember now, but they've both been out for a bit, and they're both newer books that are on my shelf, and I really, really want to read them soon. So these have to be the books that I think of when I think of new releases that I haven't read yet, but I want to read. I know they're not brand new releases, so ever since I haven't been getting the Outcrate books, I haven't been getting as new of releases. Maybe at some point I'll get back to getting the Outcrate boxes so I have newer releases, but yeah. I hope that's still interesting to know. I think I've talked about both of these books and how badly I want to read them, so I really just need to get on that. And the next question in the tag is my most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and that has to be the fourth book in the Heartstopper series. So I will put up a picture here if I can find one. I think there is a picture of the cover, volume 4 for Heartstopper, and I am so pumped to keep reading on in that series. So that is the first one that came to mind. I don't know, I don't follow new releases as well as I should. I tend to see them like on Instagram, and then I'm like, oh, I totally missed that book was coming out. Maybe I should follow that a bit better since I'm a booktuber, but it's okay. So anyway, I'm really excited for that. I think it's supposed to come out toward the end of this year, like in the fall sometime. And I am so excited to continue reading on in that series. And the next question is, what is your biggest disappointment so far of this year? And that, unfortunately, was also an extremely easy question for me to answer, and that is Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. Maybe I was setting myself up for torture here. I kind of should have known. I don't know. I held off on buying this book for a long time because I was like, I don't know if I really want to read that. And then I heard some good things and people said her writing improved, and it's like vaguely entertaining, but it's really just, I don't know. It's just Edward complaining a lot. And the first half of the book was really just his own inner monologue of just him obsessing over Bella and hating himself. And it was just a little much for me. So I am past that point now. I am still like only a little bit past halfway. And I'm reading it at work to just kind of push myself through it. Like I get breaks at work and I read on those breaks. So it makes it so I definitely read this book every single day. And I know I will finish it. I'm getting to a point where I feel like I'm getting some new information about Edward that I didn't really know before. But up until the first half of the book was over, it was just a lot. It was just a lot, and it just wasn't really that enjoyable to me. I found it super boring. I was trying to read it before bed, and I'd only read a page or two, and then I'd like want to fall asleep. I guess I kind of should have known, because I feel like I've outgrown Twilight in many ways, even though, like I've said in past videos, I don't think it's the horrible thing that some people think it is. It's just not that great either. I definitely was at the least hoping to feel super nostalgic reading it, and mostly I'm just kind of bored. Whoops. So yeah. The next question is, what was the biggest surprise of the year? And that has to be, yet again, I'm mentioning this one, Never Contented Things by Sarah Porter. This book really surprised me. It was a lot deeper than I thought it would be. It dealt with a lot heavier of topics than I thought it was going to. I just thought it was like a creepy dark fairy book, and it actually dealt with so many things. The main character, Xenia, this book in so many ways is about her growing past trauma and unhealthy relationships and finding herself and finding friendship and love, and like her grappling with the idea of family, being a foster child. And it was so much deeper and so much better and so much weirder than I thought it would be, and I absolutely loved that about it. It's one of the most bizarre books I've ever read, and I love that about it. So it definitely surprised me, and when I was thinking about best book of the year, this one did actually come to mind first. Winterwood kind of came to mind later, which, to be fair, I like just read this one, in Winterwood I read like at the way beginning of the year. So, but both these books really stuck with me, but this one especially, it's just really stuck with me, and I really can't wait to get some of Sarah Porter's other books. So I have to say this is the biggest surprise of the year. It just really, it was so much more. I was so excited to read it, and then it was so different and so much more than what I even thought it was or thought I was looking for. So yeah, that's pretty great. Highly recommend if you like dark, creepy things. So the next question is your favorite new author of the year, and that can be new to you or a debut author. And Sarah Porter could definitely be that author for me. I'm really excited to read her other work, so I'm really excited that I read one of her books, and now I know she has a couple other books that are already out that I'd love to go back and read. But I didn't want to be like too repetitive in this, and also I think I'm equally excited about Mary H.K. Choi. I've talked about her a bit I have only started reading one of her books and I'm not finished it yet. And before in my previous video, I didn't want to give it away. I wanted to wait till the end of the month to tell you guys, but I'm going to end up mentioning it in this video later on. It is not this one. This is Emergency Contact, which I am very excited to read. This cover is so beautiful and I'm so excited to read it. But Mary H.K. Choi, the book that I have started reading, oh my gosh, like her writing is so amazing. I mean, it's so intelligent and intellectual and like, oh, it's just like so detailed. It's like, I feel like I'm reading something so smart. Like the references she makes, and I don't know, it just kind of blows me away. Like I feel like this woman is absolutely brilliant. And then on top of that, the one that I'm reading anyway, the relations between the characters, the way she delves into mental health and family and just so much is so amazing. And I'm so excited to read her other books. And I think I talked about them in my last video, but she has to be the one that I have to say is like my favorite new author of this year, because I'm just so excited to read more. I know I haven't even finished the book I'm reading yet, but I just have a really good feeling about it. So I'll let you guys know if that changes, but I don't think it will. The next question on the tag is, who is your newest fictional crush? And that has to be, for me, the character of Morpheus from the Splintered series. So this is supposed to be a depiction of him on the cover of Unhinged, the second book in the series. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I finished reading this series this year. I just have the kind of companion short story novel to read as well, which I do plan on reading before the end of the year. I don't know, I can't help it. I feel like my feelings toward Morpheus are very similar toward my feelings toward Cardan in the Cruel Prince series, which last year Cardan was my newest fictional crush, which I think is pretty funny. It's the same kind of feeling. It's that enemies to lovers kind of trope. I guess I like that trope more than I thought I did, because when I first started reading the Cruel Prince series, I thought I kind of hated that trope, and in some ways I do still think it's kind of unhealthy, but what can I say? The heart wants what it wants. Yeah, so Morpheus is he's such a great character. Well, to be fair, I love the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. I've always thought that character is really cool and interesting. I actually dressed up as the Mad Hatter one year for Halloween, like a more feminine version, but it was like one of my favorite costumes of all times that I've dressed up as an adult, and I did like funky makeup. It was great. It was so much fun. In this reimagining of Alice in Wonderland, he is supposed to be like kind of a combo of the Mad Hatter and the Caterpillar, so he's got that sort of wisdom to him as well, and that sort of kind of riddly, puzzly, hookah smoking kind of like bizarreness, and I don't know. And he turns into a moth, which is really cool. When I was a kid, I really loved bugs, so the whole concept of bugs in this series is really fun for me and interesting, and really makes me think of my childhood and how obsessed I was with bugs. I just love that he's always challenging the main character, Alyssa. He's always challenging her, he's always pushing her. And at first that seemed like negative, but then I realized by the end of the series that he was helping her way more than anyone else, and that he trusted her and he believed in her, and that was kind of really beautiful to me, because I don't feel like we see that a lot. I also liked that he's kind of androgynous as a character, which I thought was interesting, because a lot of times in love triangles, it's two very, very hyper masculine men fighting for one girl, and when it comes to Morpheus, he more used his intelligence to kind of try to one-up Jeb, which I thought was interesting, but also I thought it was really cool that he can be very feminine as well as masculine, and he kind of gives this very, like I said, androgynous vibe of like kind of subscribing to neither masculinity or femininity fully, and I really liked that about him. I thought that was really cool and enjoyable, and yeah, I don't know. I just think he's a really fun character, and as soon as I read that question, he is the first character that popped into my mind. I was like, can't help it. He's the one this year so far. I will let you guys know if that changes as well at the end of the year, but yeah, so far, it's gotta be Morpheus. The next question is your newest favorite character, and I think at this point in the year, I have to say it is Myung from Wicked Fox. I'm not 100% sure I'm saying her name right, so I'm sorry if I'm not, but I just really love her character. The whole relationship with her mother is so interesting right from the start. I mean, she's like half Gumiho, and the Gumiho is the nine-tailed fox. She's possessed by the spirit of the nine-tailed fox, which needs to siphon men's energy in order to live and have energy herself. And she only kind of goes after bad men, which is kind of her way of dealing with her humanity, because she is half human. But her mother is kind of this like thousands and thousands year old Gumiho, and their relationship is just so interesting. And I don't know, I loved her from the beginning, and obviously I completely ship the relationship in this series. I believe I've talked about that before as well. Ji-hoon is freaking adorable, and I love that this takes place in Seoul, which was really fun for me because I got really into K-dramas, especially last year during the pandemic. I got really into K-dramas, and it was so fun reading in the setting of Seoul after having it sort of become familiar to me from watching K-dramas. So I definitely just I had a lot of fun with this book in general, and I've talked about that in previous videos, but overall I just feel like Myung is like such a cool character. And I was kind of disappointed when I realized that the companion novel that I talked about a little earlier in this video, Vicious Spirits, is not actually a sequel, so it doesn't follow her anymore, and I really wish it did. And I think that's part of what's kept me from reading the sequel sooner, is that if it had been a continuation of her story, I would have jumped on it immediately. I'm hoping she'll be in the novel, but since I know she's not the main character and the main perspective, it kind of threw me off a little bit. I was like, I wanted her to be, but yeah. Anyway, I absolutely loved her character, and I thought it was such a cool character, and I thought she grew so much in this novel and just had so much interchange and just went through so much, and it was just so cool. I really felt like we really got to see her character develop and change, and also stay true to herself in really important ways. So I just thought it was a really beautiful novel about family and love and relationships and friendships and kind of becoming yourself. I don't know, I really enjoyed it. Highly recommend. So the next prompt is a book that made you cry. And to be fair, I think I've only teared up a little bit with this book, but I know it's gonna be a tearjerker, and this was the one I was trying not to tell you guys about, but I can't help myself because I feel like it's the only one that really fits into this category that I've read so far this year, and that is Yolk by Mary H.K. Choi. I am not finished this book yet. In fact, I'm not even halfway into it, but I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, it really blew me away. Mary H.K. Choi is really I don't know, just blowing my mind with this book, what I've read so far. It's a little dense. It's definitely super sad because it is about a relationship between two sisters, and one of them has cancer, which is really, yeah. So it's a lot to deal with. And on top of that, the main character is dealing with some mental health issues. Very specifically, she's also dealing with some body image issues. It deals with eating disorders and family and cancer and relationships, really toxic relationships, actually. And it's really intense, but it's really just blowing me away, and I really felt like reading a good solid contemporary, and I'm really glad I picked it up. And I think I will. I don't think it'll take me a lot longer to finish reading it, but it's definitely a tearjerker, guys. If you want to read something that's gonna make you cry, this is probably the right choice. But I'm really enjoying it. I feel like I needed something like this actually pretty badly, so I'm glad I picked it up. The next prompt is a book that made you happy. And I had to choose, with no doubt, the book that has been kind of the cheeriest and most lighthearted and still had some great concepts and messages, was I Love You So Mochi by Sarah Kuhn. When I did first read this, I did talk about in my video for that month's wrap up, I believe it was, about how this book I felt a little disappointed when I was reading it because of the fact that I thought it was going to be a lot deeper than it was. It's definitely really light and fluffy. It definitely, I feel like, is more appropriate probably for young adult readers, as in if there was a 13-year-old that wanted to read a book like this, I'd be like, yeah, this is good. I think a 12-year-old could read this. It's pretty like PG-13. It's very cute. It's very light and fluffy, and it's perfect for someone who's just getting interested in traveling to Japan. As someone who's been interested in Japan for a long time, everything they talked about in this novel I kind of already knew about. So it doesn't really give you anything really cool. Like, I was really hoping for like some really cool, unique travel tips in this, but that's not really what I got. But it was still really cute about family relationships, staying true to yourself. It was kind of predictable, but very cute, very fun, and it definitely made me smile and made me happy. And I would still recommend it to anyone as kind of a light, fun little romance slash self-discovery kind of novel. It was very cute. The next prompt is the most beautiful book you've bought or been given so far this year, and that has to be Girl, Serpent, Thorn by Melissa Bashardoust for me. This book is is so pretty. I've gotten some really pretty books this year, but I just think this book is just absolutely beautiful. It just drew me to it right away when I saw it on the shelf. So it's really not much of a competition for me. I think this book is gorgeous. And by the way, also an amazing book, and it definitely came to mind when I was thinking of the best books I've read this year or the best book I've read so far this year. And honestly, it could compete to, this is why I can't pick favorites, guys. It could definitely be one of the best books I've read so far. I probably should have added this and made this a third book, because yeah, I absolutely loved it. I don't know. Never make me pick favorites. It's a terrible idea. I'm just kidding. I think I will have a more solid decision at the end of the year as to what my favorite one is. And I don't know, at the end of the year might turn around and I might be like, you know what? Actually, it was this all along. So I don't know. It's an amazing book. 10 out of 10 recommend. Also, it's absolutely gorgeous, obviously. So the next prompt is, what books do you want to read by the end of this year? I would have to list every single book that I haven't read yet that I own, and that is way too many, so we're not going to do that. I'd like to just mention this one because I didn't mention it before. It could have gone on the list of books, like newer releases that I want to read, and that is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. I've talked about this a few times, found it new at my favorite used bookstore, except for like it counted as used because someone had traded it in, but like it's basically brand new. It's so beautiful. So I really, really want to read this before the end of the year. But I also want to read, thinking of semi-newer books, I also want to read The Beautiful. And I also have the second book in the series, The Damned, on my shelf. I got these, I think, at the end of last year, early this year, and I'm also really excited to read these, and I'd really like to read them before the end of the year. And I want to finish reading the Shades of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. I am excited to do that before the end of the year too. See, I could go on forever. I could just start pulling more books and being like, and this one, and this one, and this one, and that one. But I won't do that to you guys because that would take all day. So the answer really is like so many books, it's ridiculous I have to read before the end of this year. But the last question that is on the list is your favorite book community member. And honestly, I don't have an answer for that. And that's for two reasons, actually. The first reason is that obviously I suck at picking favorites. I am terrible at it. The second reason is honestly that when I first started this channel, I did feel like very much in a community. To be honest, over the course of this year though, a lot of the people that I originally talked to aren't making new videos anymore or have put their channels on breaks, and I'm a little sad. Like, I kind of miss it. I felt like I was creating this little community, and now I feel like everyone I started to do that with is kind of gone. So I don't know, like, anyone else want to be a part of this? Want to bring me into their community? I would get right on that. But yeah, like, talk to me in the comments if you want someone else in your little booktube community, because I'd love to meet more people and talk to more people. There are definitely a good handful of people that I admire, but it would once again be a pretty long list, and a lot of them are more that I've been watching for years, are really big booktubers, and they're not people that, it's like, I know we're a community, but they're not people that actually would talk to me. Like, they're not gonna respond to my comments or comment on my videos. They don't follow my channel, like, but whatever. So yeah, I can't choose there. But if you want to be part of my community, let me know below in the comments. I would love to become friends with more people on booktube and have more of that sense of community, because I feel like it just hasn't felt as strong to me over the course of this year compared to how I felt when I first joined booktube the year before. So yeah, I hope that was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I was so excited to make this video because it's a lot of fun. Once I started looking over what I've read so far this year though, I was like, oh no, Yep, this is why this tag is called the book freakout tag, because I am totally freaking out. I'm like, I have so many books to read this year. I have not read nearly enough to even choose from for these questions. So yeah, definitely. They're not lying when they call it a book freakout tag. But yeah, I hope that you all enjoyed watching. Please like this video if you liked it. Comment down below and let me know if you've read any of these books, what you think. Feel free to answer the questions below in the comments if you want, if you're not gonna do this video yourself. Or let me know if you have a booktube channel and you're also doing this video, because I would love to watch yours. And please subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more content like this. I will be back with another booktube video soon. I'm thinking of doing something a little different for next week. I don't know. I'm not gonna say what I'm thinking, so it might be a total surprise, but I hope that you guys enjoy it if I do something a little different. Keep an eye out to find out. If not, it'll just be another basic booktube video. I will be back with another new booktube video soon. Have a good rest of your week, everyone. Bye.